Welcome to the Tibot Shalom Shir. This week's Parsha is Shemot. We open up a new Sefer, new book of the Torah, and we're going to be talking about the burning bush. And the lesson we can learn from the burning bush, you remember that Moshe is tending sheep in the wilderness, and all of a sudden he sees this bush burning, but it's not being consumed. And he stops and looks at it, and then uh, he says he takes another step back to look at it. Then Hashem talks to him from the bush and says, "This place is holy," and that was the prelude to him going to Mitzrayim. But we learn a very important thing from the burning bush, and we learn that no matter how difficult things are, a Jew has innate Emunah, innate faith in God that's in essence genetic. That if you recognize that you have that Emunah deep within you, nothing should cause you any concern. So we'll talk about this throughout the course of the Tibot Shalom Shir. So let's begin. The pasuk says, "V'hine hasneh bo'er bo'esh," the bush was burning with fire. "V'hasneh einenu ukal," but the bush was not consumed. And then the pasuk says begins here in Tibot Shalom, "Vayar malach Hashem elav belavas eish mitoch hasneh." An angel of God appeared to him from the fire in the middle of the bush. Vayar vehine hasneh bo'er bo'esh, and Moshe saw that the bush was burning with fire. Vasneh einenu uchal, and the bush was not consumed. Vayomer Moshe said, "Asura na be'eres hamara hagadol hazeh." I have to turn aside and look at what is going on. What is this great sight that I'm seeing? Madua lo yivar hasneh. Why isn't the bush burning? Vayera Hashem. Uh, no, Vayar Hashem. Sorry, Vayar Hashem. God saw Kisar Liros, that Moshe was turning towards the bush. Vayikra elav Hashem mitoch hasneh, and he called him from the midst of the burning bush. Vayomer, he said, "Al tikram halom," don't come any nearer to this bush. Shal na'alechem al raglecha, take your shoes off your feet. Ki hamokum asher ata omed alav, the place that you are standing upon, Admas Kodesh, who is holy land. Yesh levar inyan hamara hagadol hazeh. We have to explain what's this great vision that he's seeing. Asher hera HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moshe, that God showed to Moshe, terem shalchu, before he sent him on his way to Mitzrayim to talk to Paro. The mashma shebamara hazeh tamun sod hashlichus. Obviously, in this vision of the burning bush, the experience of the burning bush, there is hidden the entire secret of what his shlichus, his agency to go to Mitzrayim, is going to be. Yesh inyan al pimad omer b'sifrei HaKodesh. The beer, it says in the holy books, Hameomer al Kasuv, as it says in the book of Devorim, it says, "Ki chipazon yotzat me'eretz Mitzrayim." Bnei Israel were in a hurry to get out of the land of Mitzrayim. Why? The yotz shoyu shekuim memted sharich tuma, because they were well immersed, immersed in the 49th gate of defilement, of Tuma. V'im hoya noflim b'shar hanun, hoya chas v'sholom avodim. If God forbid they would have fallen one more level into the 50th gate, they would have been lost. L'kach hoisi yitzis Mitzrayim b'chipazim. Therefore, the leaving Mitzrayim had to be quickly. Pen b'ahasharam od ma'at yiplu chas v'sholom l'shar hanun. Lest if they waited any more, God forbid, they might fall into this 50th gate. Achein tzorach bir zeh. You have to understand this. Gufa, madua saveh HaKadosh Baruch Hu sheyashar v'Yisrael ad haregel hachar. Why did Hashem wait until the Jews were at the very last second before they would be destroyed, before they'd fall into the level of defilement that they couldn't get out of? Madolo hitziam b'kodem sheshach memtet. Why didn't God take them out of Egypt before they reached that point, the 49th level? So that they should have taken them out sooner so they wouldn't be in this danger of being destroyed. The depth of this reasoning can be understood by an analogy to planting a seed in the ground to grow something up. The kodem markiv hagarin ajlonishabo kim kusta dichiyuta. This seed that you plant completely disintegrates. So there's almost nothing left except this, what he calls the kusta dichiyuta, the spark of life. One little spark of life left in that seed, and from that spark of life, then it begins to grow. Kilot titachen smichat bechodashet. You can't have new growth. Elakasher kodem la eder, until the seed dissolves. As long as the old seed, the initial seed that you're putting in, doesn't rot away and disintegrate, ein hachadash yochel atzmoch, the new one cannot grow out of that. Amnam, therefore, im yitrakev legamri, if it has completely disintegrated, v'lo tishar kusta d'chiyusa, and this spark of life did not remain, kfar gam kain lo titakin atzmichet, it would not be able to grow anymore. So what you're talking about is just a infinitely small amount of time between the time when the remnants of this seed are a life force, and between the time that it gets destroyed completely. B'zman hatzmicha hamuchedesh hikasher hagroin nimtza bein ha'eder v'ha'kiyum. And the time for the renewal, for the planting of new plants, is when the seed is between life and death, so to speak, between the very end of being completely disintegrated and still having a little life in it. Shekulo nirkav milvada kusta, because it has to disintegrate to the point where it leaves only this little kusta dichiyuta, this spark of life. Al derech zeh, and this way, in Yanim Shal Yisrael Mitzrayim, this is how things were in Egypt for the Bnei Yisrael. Because they went down to this 49th level of defilement, Bechinas Eder Gamur Milvada Kusta Tchioso, like the seed. They were completely down there leaving only this spark of life left. Shenishar b'hem shelo niflo l'shar hanun. This kusta dichiyuta, this spark of life, kept them from falling into the 50th level. Now we're going to skip a couple lines. This is the aspect of why they left Egypt in a hurry. Because before this, they couldn't have left, could not have left. Yoter, and they couldn't have left later. Because they were at this moment when this spark of life, this kusta dichiyuta, that moment gave them the ability to be redeemed. This is this point between the total destruction of the seed and the growing. This was the time where the new plant, the new nation of the chosen people could emerge. So this is what God's showing, this amazing sight of this burning bush before he sent him on his mission to talk to Paro and get the Jews out of Egypt. The bush was burning with fire and wasn't consumed. Kocho tatuma, holchim makalim es klal Yisrael, the power of defilement, are always trying to destroy the children of Israel. Always trying to, the Yetzer Hara is always trying to get us in a low spot, trying to forget about Hashem, trying to forget that God runs the world. So Abel Hasne and Ukal, but the burning bush is not consumed. She'enam nisrafim lagamri, it's not burned completely. Ela nishar behem adayin kusta dichiyuta, remaining in the Jew, no matter how far they have fallen, is this kusta dichiyuta, this spark of life. And we go down a little bit here. Omnom inyan kusta dichiyuta shnimtza behem, hu kamar chazal b'schus ve'emunah nigalu avosem Mitzrayim. What is this spark of life that is found within them? Our sages say it is because of their Emunah, because of their faith in God. That's why they were redeemed. That's why we, Jews, were redeemed from the land of Egypt. Shamuna hi bechinas koach hayehuli. The Emunah gave us the potential power. The potential power, shoyu b'shoresh nishmas Yisrael shem chelek Hashem amo, that the root of the souls of the children of Israel is that God is a part of them. B'chinaso yeredes ad b'chinas tachtonim shebenefesh adam, and because of that, they fell to the lowest levels that they could reach. And we talk about the Jewish people as we are children of believers. We are believers, children of believers. Ratzon Lomar, Shekei Yesod Nafsham, Mishoresh Hamud. This is the foundation of their souls. It's rooted in Emunah and faith and emes and truth. Adkan. Behind Degem Kasher Yehudi Nunsu Matzavim Hashfelim Biyoter. When Jews are found in the lowest possible level, and they feel like they have sunk as far as they can sink. Chai v'kayim koach Emunah b'pninos nafsho. The power of Emunah, the power of faith in God within them, in the inner person that sustains them. That power sustains them. V'emunah b'chiras hakusta dichiyuta. Your emunah, your trust in God, your faith in God, that is the spark of life. That is the spark of life that saves you. At the very last minute, we think all is done. That spark of life saves you. Mimenu techilas hatzmicha ha'mechadeshet. From that begins the new growth. And we go down a little bit. Ulekach Omar, and that therefore Moshe said, Asorana be'eres hamera hagadol hazeh. Malo yivar. I will turn around, turn and see what's going on here. Why this bush isn't burned? Eich yitakein. How can it be? Shenishar bohem hakusta dichiyuta shel tohor Emunah alaf godol eish hatuma. How can this spark of life exist on the fire of defilement, which was Mitzrayim? And God answers, Shal na'alechem al raglecha, take your shoes off of your feet. Ki hamokum asher ta omed olav admas kodesh hu, the place you're standing is holy, meaning hamokum asher ta omed olav, this place that you're standing on, Murumaz al bnei Yisrael, is a hint to the children of Israel. Sha'at omed umedaber odosum, where you are standing and you're speaking about them. Yisrael heim kadosh kadoshim. The children of Israel are the holy of holies. Baf biyos Yehudi mishukim emted shari tuma. Even a Jew is fallen to the 49th level of defilement. Kiyum bo koach Emunah. The power of Emunah that is within you will keep you alive and will enable you to go on. Kamama Rabbi Melechovich, Sha'al Yehudi Lahamin Shehu Mamim. No matter what situation you're in, a Jew must believe that he's a believer. You might think that things look so bad. I'm giving up, nothing to believe in. God's not here, Chas v'shalom. God's not helping me. No, you have to believe, first of all, that you're a believer. You have to put it in your mind, muscle memory. I'm a believer. I have Emunah in Hashem. That's the first thing you have to do. Even if you don't feel it, Yamin, you should believe nafsho, in the inner parts of your soul. Mamin, who you are a believer. Ovim b'chasi mimenu es or Emunah. But the clouds of your difficulties, the clouds of your problems are covering up the light of this Emunah. But just like the clouds that you see outside in the sky, it looks like they're covering the sun, but the sun's still there. They're covering the light. So too, your Emunah gets covered up with these clouds. Genetically, Emunah is found internally in the soul of every Jew from our forefathers. Kamar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moshe, as Hashem said to Moshe, sorry, oh yeah. Come on, I had something pop up on my screen that wasn't part of this year. Kamar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moshe, B'nei Maminim Ha'im. You are children of believers, children of believers. V'af shehasneh bo'er ba'esh, even though the bush is burning with fire, einenu ukal, it's not consumed. Shebechol matzav, shehu, every situation that you as a Jew find yourself, lo nivkach koach Emunah v'pnimios nafsham, your internal faith, your genetic faith that you have internally, the power of that will
Recording in
that is really sorry about that. That's something crazy happening. Okay. Um, hopefully we're still recording. Let me just double check. As far as I know, we're still recording. The power of Emunah. יש בהם הסעקוס דחיוסה שבכוח יכול להיגאל במצרים. Through this power of Emunah that is forever there, no matter what your situation is, we are able to be redeemed from Egypt. Odophan, another situation, another explanation, Yesh Lamed Inyan, Vayar Malach Hashem, Vayar Malach Hashem Elav Belavas Eish, the angel of Hashem appeared with the clothing of fire. Pasnat Einan Ukal, the bush didn't burn. Hayesod Hamavor Shekocho Haruchni Shal Yehudi. Einu Necha V'Nisrach Lagami, meaning that your spiritual power of a Jew is never completely consumed and never completely burned up. Dine Kasiv Lahalan, as it says, Ra'isi es ani ami. I have indeed seen the difficulties, the pains of my people. Kiyodati, because I know, God is saying, because I know es machov. I know the troubles you're going through. I know your pains. Visa al zeb, the Midrash says, Risi lo nemar ela ra risi. It doesn't say it once. I saw, but it says twice. I certainly saw. The word risi is repeated in a different form. Amar lo Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem said, Moshe atroa achas. Moshe, you see one thing. Ani roesh te rios, but I see two things. V'yesh lomer v'zeh. We say this. Api mama mor HaKadosh b'kuvran z'husilenu shagrua biyoter. The worst thing that a person can do, ukashu Yehudi mashlim imatziosa haruchtios kamoshehi. The worst thing a Jew can do is to be satisfied with his spirituality, his or her spirituality as it is. You don't try to change it. All the time, if a Jew is not satisfied with his spiritual reality, Matzfuno miyisoro amatzavo haruchni, Mitzfuno miyisoro, from the pangs of consciousness that he has on the condition of his spirituality, Bachash, Ki Chaim Shekala Einu Chaim, he thinks that life is really not life. Tovasu Nafsho, his soul is pleading for. Lamo Liskiaga Kidei Lagia Lischachos. He wants to come to this renewal. But if he has that desires of wanting to come to renewal, wanting to renew himself, wanting to be a better person, Einu Oved. No matter how far he has fallen, he will not fall. He will not be lost. Zet koach kusta dichiyuta. This is the power of the kusta dichiyuta, the spark of life. Tvias hanefesh she'enu mashlim imatzevo. Your desire of your neshama, that I'm not satisfied with where I am right now spiritually. Umizeh, tchilas hatzmiach. That's the beginning of growth, of new growth. Going down, V'zeh Perish Rei Roisias Anyami. This is what it means. I have surely seen the difficulties of my people. Ataroa riachas. You see one thing. V'ani Hashem says, I, Roash Derios, I see two things. The Moshe Rabbeinu Shalom Omar, Hein B'nai Yisrael Lo Shamoy Elai. Moshe said, he sees that B'nai Yisrael won't listen to him when he says he's there to get them out of Mitzrayim. Remember, they were complaining about, why did you come here? Why are you doing this to us? So he saw only that part of it. So he saw because they weren't listening to him, they had given up completely. They were miyayish. Shashlimo, they were satisfied that they were satisfied with the level they had fallen to the 49th level of Tuma. Because of this, God answers them. Ami. I have seen the troubles of my people. Ani roash derios, but I see two things. Rak es hachitsonios. You see only the outside. Ani roa hein es hachitsonios, hein es hapnimios shepnimios. I see not only the outside, but I also see the inside of the insides. And you can make an analogy. We look at things and we see things and we think this is what it's about. But we're looking at the outside. We're looking at the outer coverings. We're not coverings. We're not looking at the inside. Kiyodati esmachovav. God says, I know your troubles. Hainu shro anias godel hakev pnimios nafsham. I see the great pain inside of you. Asher tzak libam el Hashem al shefel matzavam, that is crying out to God because of your low state. Even though the outward looks like you've fallen completely as far as you can go to the 49th level of Tuma, Bepnimios, Shebepnimios, in the inner of every Jew, Nafsham Hayinam Malayim Bechavim Yisuri Hanefesh, your heart is pained. You're asking for redemption and to have your soul redeemed. And this is what it means when Hashem told Moshe, take your shoes off of your feet. Take off the chitzonios, take out your outer coverings, ota bimos, that is covering, that is blocking your inner soul. As then, tira kibipnimios admas kodesh. You'll see that inside, this is holy land. Inside every Jew is holiness. Inside every Jew is the kusta dichiyuta of Emunah in Hashem, that Hashem will be there in all our difficulties. Zu kusta dichiyuta. This is the kusta dichiyuta, the spark of life, that always stays with the Jew. God is testifying to us. I know your difficulties. As he said, from my depths. Davidovich says, from my depths I call to you, Hashem. From the depths of the degrading things around me, the klipa, the coverings, the defilement around me, from the depths of that, I call you. We can say also from the depths of my soul, Sha'af. כאשר נמצא במצב שבחיצונים כבר אינו מסוגל לקרוא על Hashem. When a Jew finds himself where these outer coverings, the outer part, doesn't allow him to call to Hashem. He should call from the depths to Hashem, from the depths of his soul. He should call out from the pain of his soul for the salvation of Hashem. With this specific Kodesh, and as it's said in the holy books, when they were in the Mitzrayim, it was like the desert was closed upon them. It says, this means that from the Midbar desert, the word Midbar is the power of speech. They couldn't speak before God. They couldn't even pray. So what were they left with? Barak anacha haisalem. They could only groan. Yisrael v'yazaku v'tal shavasu el Hashem. God heard their cries. V'yishma Hashem es nakasam. Kol Elohim l'shono shel anacha. Below Dibor, these are all languages of crying out without real words. When you cry out to Hashem with your inner soul, where you're letting God know you're not satisfied with the spiritual level you're at. You're not satisfied with where you are with your matzav. Kusta dichiyuta. This is the spark of life, from which the redemption will grow, either the national redemption or the personal redemption. It's shown by the burning bush. Just like the redemption of all of Klal Yisrael, so too is the same with an individual redemption. If you have you're asking, your soul is asking, and you have pangs of conscience. You're not satisfied with where you are. And you're looking for all kinds of advice. How to renew yourself, how to have a new growth. This is a power that will save you from all sides, from all from all difficult situations. It will bring you to a new growth. The key is, don't be satisfied by just thinking, oh, I've fallen so far, I can't go anywhere. Look at the inside of yourself. Recognize that it's holy. Recognize that you have Emunah in Hashem genetically coming from our forefathers. Thank you for listening. I'm going to turn off the recording.